let's start in baseball. And some interesting stuff. Joe Kelly, the Dodgers pitcher, who, of course, earlier in the year, a couple weeks ago, threw at some Astros. Alex Bregman, if I remember correctly, and Correa, and I don't know that he threw at Correa, but that's what it was some inside pitches. But anyway, he got 8 games. He appealed later. It was down to 5 games. But he is still salty with the Houston Astros. And he went off on them on the Big Swing podcast hosted by his teammate, Ross Stripling. Here is Joe Kelly on the Astros.
The people that took the fall for what happened is nonsense. Yes, everyone's involved. But the way that thing was ran over there was not from coaching staff. It was ran with coaching staff, yes, don't get me wrong. But they're not the head boss in charge of that thing. It's the players. So now the players get the immunity, and all they do is go snitch like a little and they don't have to get fined. They don't have to lose games. When you take someone's livelihood to save your own ass, that's what I don't like. Cheating, they cheated. Everyone knows they're cheaters. They know they're cheaters. It's over. That's been there, done with. But now they mess it up by going and ruining other people's lives. So they it up twice. When you taint someone's name to save your own name, I think that is one of the worst things you could probably do. It just really freaking bugs me. Like, I think I'll be irritated forever.
Now, remember, Rob, Joe Kelly played for Alex Cora in Boston. And
I'm glad you brought that up as well. That Boston was involved when they won the World Series too. A little something. They didn't get hammered
supposedly
like the Astros, but still,
supposedly
there was something going on.
Yeah,
exactly.
But go ahead.
Yeah, so I think Joe Kelly is 100% wrong. I think, that whole thing about snitching or whatever, I always go down to this. And I think for people who it's easy to say, I would never snitch, I would never say anything. If that was a family member and somebody knew what happened to them and the people responsible for whatever it is, Chris, to your family member, and they could put those bad people behind bars, we would have no judicial system if there wasn't immunity and you allow people to come on the witness stand and tell the exact truth. Otherwise, a lot of bad people would still be walking around. So Joe Kelly can sit around, and it's the buck still falls on the general manager and the manager because they run the clubhouse and the dugout. And if they really were against it, Chris, they could have said something. I do not buy that those guys couldn't say anything and they had to go along with what was going on. They knew it was cheating. So this whole notion, most of the judicial system is on people coming forward and telling the truth. Stop with that. Don't be snitchers. Snitching gets stitches. That sounds good until your family's involved. And then you would pray to the high heavens that somebody would be honest and and tell the truth. And the people who did bad should go and face their punishment or their day, have their day in court and get what they deserve as well. So I'm not going to buy into that. That sounds good and bravo and macho and stick your chest out and say that they ruined other people's lives and all that other stuff. It went down, and the only way you're going to get to it from baseball standpoint, Chris, is you have to give immunity to be able to understand the whole scope of it. What was going on? How long was it going on? The depth of the cheating, and sometimes it's not something you just give and you want to give, but if you can't get to the bottom of it, sometimes you have no choice. We've seen it all the time in court cases. It ain't the greatest thing, but without it, a lot of justice wouldn't be served. And so I stand against Joe Kelly.
Weren't you against the guys snitching in the bubble? The guys calling on the phone? But I'm just saying, weren't you the one saying snitches get stitches and all that stuff?
No, I didn't say that. I thought that they set up that thing to tell people that they're hanging out or doing something, that ain't a court of law. I don't
but
look
it's
at
still
that.
snitching.
Nah, I'm talking about a serious situation, which was when we talk about the Astros cheating, messing with the integrity of the game. It's something that had to be resolved, had to figure out the scope of it, and baseball needed to know.
I
They had
disagree
to
with
know.
you. I'm with Kelly. First of all, you brought up life and death situations with your family. Yeah, that's, of course, different.
No, what's different, Chris? What's different?
It's life and death. This isn't life and death. That's very much different. This is a freaking game. So you can't compare it to life and death.
It's about integrity. It doesn't matter what the scope is.
Told me,
it's integrity.
It's
said integrity.
Let me finish now.
That phone call is not a court of law.
Rob, you just said it doesn't matter the scope.
It ain't the same thing.
So you're
It ain't the
changing
same
your goal.
thing.
You're moving the goalpost.
No, I'm not.
When I brought up the snitching in the bubble, you were against it. But now the scope doesn't matter.
Making
You're
a phone call about people, no, that ain't a cheating scandal. No, it's totally different.
Stop it. It's my turn. All right, you life and death. This wasn't life and death. Number one. Number two, when people snitch, in a lot of cases they aren't guilty of a crime themselves, and so that's the difference. The Astros were guilty. They were just as guilty as the GM and the managers, and they got no punishment. That's ridiculous. And then there are times when people are guilty of a crime, where they are criminals themselves, and they get immunity, so they tell the truth. But what do people do? Because they know nobody respects that, they put them in witness protection. So it's either the snitches are either anonymous and hidden and nobody knows who they are, or they're sent to witness protection because people don't respect that, or they're not guilty of a crime themselves. In this case, it's people who are guilty of wrongdoing, snitching on other people guilty of wrongdoing, and they get no punishment. That's weak. I couldn't do it. Now, I might tell, but I might say also, I got to get some punishment too. I'm serious. You talk about integrity. I can't just see people got fired. People lost their jobs.
Yes, because they're in charge of the organization. They should have lost their job.
Like, ain't nothing happened? Like, I didn't do anything? That ain't cool. That's weak. And here's what Major League Baseball should have done. I will agree with you that they had to get the information so you can give the players immunity. But what they should have done, and I've said it from day one, take away the championships. If that's a way of punishing the players. Jose Altuve would no longer be a champion. Carlos Correa would no longer be a champion. That's what they should have done. It would have been a roundabout way to punish the players. And they still get their immunity where they can play their games.
Chris,
that's what should have been done. These dudes got away with highway robbery, so to speak, and other people paid the price, and they're just scot-free? No, not even a suspension? A couple games? Nothing. That's weak. He's right. Joe Kelly's right on the money.
Joe Kelly, of all people who was with the Red Sox organization that he's going to stand up, he wasn't even with the Dodgers. Why is he throwing at the Astros? He wasn't even on the team when they lost to the Astros. Why did he take it upon himself? He shouldn't have been involved in that.
Why not? He's a major league player.
Well, because his team also had the same thing going about it. So he's so righteous. Who the hell is Joe Kelly to be so righteous when he was on a team that was accused of cheating too? Oh, I'm going to show the Astros. They're cheaters. They're rats. Let me tell you something, Chris Broussard. The world needs rats. Somebody needs to eat the garbage. We need rats. And we need people to rat out people who have done wrong.
What we need are honest people. That's what we need.
Well, we're not going to always get that.
If you're a rat
sometimes
and you
we need
did
to do that.
If you're a rat and you
can
did
sit here
something,
and
you
be
just
holier
said
than thou.
earlier.
Go ahead.
You just said earlier.
Go ahead.
You just said earlier, direct quote, the people who did bad should get punished.
There you go.
But
you're siding with the cheater, Joe Kelly. Now he's Mr.
You're
Righteous.
siding with the cheater.
No, you're siding with
The
Joe
Astros
Kelly.
aren't
You
cheaters?
just said you're with Joe Kelly. He was on the Red Sox.
Look, for real, this ain't me against you. You're wrong. You're siding with the Astros. Joe Kelly, apparently they didn't cheat to the degree that the Astros did, and we don't even know if Joe Kelly was involved. He hasn't been named. The Astros cheated. They should have got punished. That's indefensible. And then they sit there and rat on other guys and watch those guys get punished? At the very least, come out and freaking admit it.
Chris,
at the very least.
What you
they
can't
haven't even
do
done that.
in a court of law is you won't be able to pin who used the information or whether they were swinging on their own. That's what you can't prove. They can tell you what the pitch is coming, Chris. You can't prove that I used the information because it was available.
Stop it. Oh,
you
so
can't.
now they didn't cheat?
I'm telling you, you can't prove it.
You will go
I
defend
can't.
some things.
You
This
can't
is
prove
ridiculous.
it. You can't prove it is my point. There are guys. There was a rookie who came up.
So they didn't
No,
cheat now.
that's not what I said. I said
what
you
are
can't.
saying?
You can't prove
You're
that
talking
an
in
individual,
circles, man.
If a guy told you that I didn't use it, I know it was available. I heard the banging of the cans, but I didn't use it. How are you going to prove that he used it, Chris?
I don't have to.
You can't.
Is it proven that the team cheated?
You can't.
Is it proven that the team cheated?
I'm talking about individuals.
I'm asking you a question. Is it proven that the team cheated? Is it?
They were cheating.
Okay.
But you can't prove every player took part in it.
Take away the rings. That's it. I don't have to worry about what individual did cheat and didn't cheat. The team cheated. You're not champions. That's a travesty. It's egg on baseball's face. Admit it. They should have taken the title. And then we wouldn't even have to worry about these dudes getting thrown at and all this mess. They cheated, they ratted, they should have got the title taken from them. The GM and the coach shouldn't have been the only ones, or the manager, that paid the price. The players cheated just as much.